all those who are tapping in. We're just waiting for this stream to get officially set up. That way we can start flooding this out. So let's just give this about a minute. All right, cool. So we should definitely officially be live now. Hope you guys are all doing amazing as we start to enter the chats. Brand new week, also a brand new month. So that's always exciting. Some new fresh energy, new fresh starts for myself and everybody. So looking forward to it. I got my co-host, the one and only Mr. Brent Badal in the building with me right here. But yeah, we're excited to kick off this call, guys. A quick reminder before we jump straight into it. As you know, Brent always likes to cover the fundamentals and just kind of set the tone for the Sunday market outlooks. But we still have our goal of 300 live viewers for us to do our funded prop firm challenge account giveaway. So let's definitely get in those group chats, get on those socials, blast the link out as we give you guys the sauce for everything you need to know about the markets, which there's a lot of interesting things to talk about across the board, stock market, cryptos. So you don't want to miss this one. So again, 300 viewers, and we will be giving away a funded challenge account on here. So we look forward to hitting that goal. I know Brent has a lot in store for us now, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove myself from the picture for just a second here and let my brother take the floor. Bro, thank you so much for always taking time out of your weekend, away from family time to, give the people what they need and to set the tone, bro. So appreciate you and let's get it.
Of course, bro. Let's get it. Let's get it. We have a big week. We had an amazing week last week. That's the beauty of doing the Sunday Market Outlook calls, that not just it's what we talk about while we're here, but what we can see the community doing. So congratulations to the entire community that plugged in last week live, those that watched the replays and were able to benefit from that and hit the targets that we spoke about, right? Everything that we did. So we had an amazing, amazing week based off last Sunday Outlook call. So let's make sure we do the exact same thing this week for sure. So of course, as you guys know, we're not financial advisors or anything like that. We just like to do what we do here. So let's get to it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we're going to look at news. So typically what I do to start off is talking about the fundamentals, talking about the news. Obviously, reminder, guys, don't fall for the smoke. What I mean by that is just because the news says it's going to go up doesn't mean it's going to go up, right? We always want to make sure we go off the candles. We want to make sure that we always read the candles, and the candles and the charts, there's no lies there, right? We know what's happening with this news to trade accordingly to said news, right? Now, this week is really interesting. Last week, we spoke about the news and we spoke about NVIDIA. This week, we have our news that we're going to talk about in a little bit more as well. So starting off right now, nothing really in the USD side of things. As you know, Rich and myself, we are the NAS bros. We trade NAS more than anything. We do touch gold now and then. Nothing that we really look for, but we're really more on NAS. So all this news that we're going to be speaking about right now pertains more to NAS than anything else. It could be indices too, really doesn't matter, right? Same thing if you trade futures with me, exact same thing, you're good to go. Now, today we do have some USD news later tonight. Nothing really crazy to worry about. Not paying attention to it. Tomorrow, right away, right off the bat, tomorrow we have news, right? So we have final manufacturing for PMI side, ISM PMI, PMI manufacturing prices, construction spending, war total vehicle sales. This is going to be important now with the tariffs. So we have a lot of news already. The cool thing is that it's a good time. Nothing really that we're going to look to trade immediately at that time. I would say just 9 Central Standard Time is the only one you want to be a little bit careful with because it is a red folder. But outside of that, nothing crazy, just some good volume that we could see run for the market tomorrow. Tuesday, kind of a chill day. We do have obviously economic optimism for the tip and the RCMA. That was important to look at, but really nothing crazy, right? Just good numbers to see what reflects on there. Nothing we're really going to trade. Tuesday's probably one of the calmer days that we have. Wednesday is going to be the more exciting day for sure. So Wednesday, we're going into ADP unemployment change, 7:15 a.m. Good time for that to happen. Then we have the ISM final services as well. Another good stuff, factory orders, crude oil inventory. So again, lots of good news happening on Wednesday. Definitely the ADP non-farm is going to be interesting. Thursdays I typically like the most. This Thursday, again, this excites me. So last Thursday was probably the best day that I traded throughout the week for said news that we spoke about last time, and I projected would be the same thing here, right? So we have challenger job cuts, But most importantly, what we have is unemployment claims happening at 7:30, revives non-farm productivity, revives unit costs, trade balances. So we have a lot of good news happening here at 7:30. Perfect time for that to happen, especially unemployment claims. So I'm excited for Thursday again, just like last week. I'm excited for Thursday to see a big, big move. And another one we got to pay attention to, it's not directly USD, but it does have to do with USD happening at night in case anybody trades that Asia London side. We might see some movement reflect there as well for the CNY. Friday, we close out the week, and Friday's going to be the strongest date, but I'm just not a huge fan of trading Fridays. But as long as I don't overlap anybody, I will be trading live Friday for Powell because we trade with our buddy Powell. And I'm not going to go live Wednesday, so I'm going to make up the session Wednesday for Friday, and we're going to trade with our buddy Powell. So that's always exciting. I love trading with Powell. So we have Friday, 7:30. We have average hour earnings, non-farm employment change, unemployment rate. So big news happening at 7:30. And then 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, we have Powell Speaks. So two big chunks of news that we have happening on Friday. Friday's going to be probably one of the strongest days. Understand that we are looking at the first week of the month. So market likes to get jumpy, likes to get a little bit crazy as it is. And then really what we need to pay attention to are the following things, right? Just like last week, outside of what Forex Factory was telling us, we were looking at NVIDIA. Well, this week we need to look at what's happening with crypto. So obviously we heard throughout the end of last week, Trump announced that we have the crypto summit happening, right, in White House. That's big for the crypto world. Then today he announces about as far as the reserve looking into crypto, big for that as well. So we should see some big moves in the market when it comes to that, because you could see where you're going to have big whales starting to capture more attention on the crypto side and maybe pull a little bit from their investments in the NAS, for example, and the VOO, things of that nature, and maybe lean it more towards crypto. Same thing on the gold side of things. So it'll be interesting to see that. And there was tariffs imposed on Canada and Mexico that were first 30 days, and then they're going to go up until April, right? This week is the 30 days for a lot of those. So we have to figure out what's going to happen. Will those countries decide to do what Trump's asking for or not? Will Trump expand and give another period as far as like, let's push it another 30 days? We don't know, but it's something that will shift the market the way that it did last time. Most likely we'll do that to then. We don't know when, we don't know at what time, we don't know what date. It's just something we need to be ready and pay attention to. But this is something exciting always, right? Never see it as a problem, never see it as a worry, never see it as a panic. It's simply an opportunity for us to have more volume in the market and to grab a bigger move. But definitely excited to look at these charts too, because these charts hit where we wanted to, Rich. So I'm excited to show them what we did last week and we said to what it did this week because we had our bulls, our bears, it all hit. So super, super excited for this part charting on NAS. And I really like where the market closed last week. And I know people are going to ask, so might as well tell you now, bro, like I could share a little bit about gold too at the end, maybe just a quick little minute, because it did break a super important area that I mentioned last week. So we might have an interesting week for gold now, finally. But I'll pass it to you, bro.
For sure, brother. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, February was a very, very I would say not even just February, but really like the last 2 weeks, we've seen the first major shift in what we mainly trade, which is NAS 100. That we haven't seen. I mean, there's talks of like, biggest market crashes since '08, etc. I mean, I don't think we're fundamentally in that type of landscape, but obviously the technicals will show you that we had massive, drops across the board for the stock markets, specifically NAS 100, which is what we mainly teach. But we're going to pull up some charts here and kind of go over it. But I think the main thing for people to understand is, for me, like I'm always somebody that is very against buying all-time highs. Obviously, whenever we do start breaking all-time highs and price continues to go, it's kind of like, well, so much for your advice, right? But this was one of those situations, this last week of why I hold that belief, right? Because the thing about the all-time high that we had, I don't know what's going on with my trading view. Hold on, let me load this back up. The thing that we have to realize about this all-time high that we had on NAS was that this was an all-time high that was created like not a super long time ago, but this was mid-December. So we're talking about it took literally 2 months, exactly 2 months from the 16th to the 17th, 18th of February, 2 whole months for us to basically, get out of this entire I wouldn't. I mean, on a higher time frame basis, you could say this is kind of like a consolidation. Obviously, as intraday traders and scalpers, we're not worried about that being consolidation. These are massive moves. But for those who, thank you, for those who are, long-term investors or looking at this from a daily, weekly perspective, we really did range for quite a while. And, obviously getting out of that range, hitting new all-time highs, you're going to start seeing people really want to chase that type of market. And that's the optimal moment for everybody that was in that 20,800 and above range to basically take profits. And once you have that massive profit taking from all these people holding these positions the last 2 months, naturally the market's going to regress very heavily. I just think that's basically what happened. I don't think this has to do with the economy suffering, things being bad. That's why the news, you got to kind of have a specific lens for it. I just think that, Brent says it all the time, and I totally have always agreed with that mindset of news is the excuse, right? News is the excuse to push prices. And you got to remember, guys, everything's supply and demand. Everything is plus minuses. Everything is about people making money or losing money. And at some point when people are, investors for the last whole year, I mean, think about it, for the whole year, they've been absolutely on a tear with the bull rally for Nasdaq. Nvidia has been making record performing numbers, all this stuff. So it's like, when do people profit take? Like, when is the money finally going to step out of the market? And what better time than a brand new year right after hitting a new all-time high? I just think that's personally how I see it. Now, it's very interesting what we're going to see now that we've basically taken liquidity on both sides of this entire range for the last 2 months. So again, sometimes if we look at only the 1 minute, 5 minute, again, in a intraday scalping perspective, of course, that's where you want to operate. But I think if you want to kind of be able to swing a position or at least kind of understand where you're at in the grand scheme of things, you want to look at a 4-hour daily and weekly, at least once in a while, and just kind of mark those levels off and just be aware of where that's at. Because again, not being aware that you're at an all-time high for all the beginner traders, obviously if you're a little bit more seasoned, that's not going to happen most likely to you. But for beginners, you may be not paying attention that we did cross an all-time high. You know what I'm saying? You're not marking up your charts. You're not paying attention to financial news. So you don't want to be caught up in trying to force more buys at all-time highs, in my opinion. You kind of wanted to shift your perspective to bearish there. And I know, Brent, you've been absolutely like catching all the highs, the New York spikes to take us down over and over and over on the live session. So people have the sauce. If you're in a cost checks, you had the sauce. Absolutely. Now, with that said, again, this is the extreme swing high of this entire 2-month range, right? Well, what's the super swing low of that entire range? Well, it's right here, right? Which we just literally crossed on, I think it was it Thursday night? Yeah, Thursday night. And then Friday, obviously we started seeing some more reaction, which is completely normal. If you guys, again, look at it from the higher time frames, we had major liquidity of not just the old all-time high, but pay attention to all of these highs that have been forming for the past 2 months. So if you're looking at all these people selling these tops, right? The minute we get to all-time high and we take out all of that liquidity, it was the perfect time to sink price. Now, the same exact thing is happening, but instead of buy-side liquidity taking out all of these highs, we've now seen sell-side liquidity get completely ran. Okay, look at all the major lows that have formed in the last 2 months, and you'll see that we've absolutely gunned for all of them. So all of the early buyers, or not, I'm not going to say early buyers, but all the buyers over the past 2 months have now all had their positions liquidated, and so naturally you're going to get a reaction. And so that's why we see Friday, have that type of, strong push towards the end of the session. Now, will I tell you that we are absolutely ready to just fly to all-time highs? Not necessarily. I think the way we open in a few hours today and how we start off on Monday can be very telling of whether this was just a strong reaction of people profit taking all of their sells from up here obviously that's going to shoot price up for a bit. And then we're just going to continue this massive tear that we've been on, been on overall. Or if this is really going to be that very pivotal, reversal area where we might get some pushes to the downside. But if we start breaking new highs over and over, then yeah, my perspective would be coming back into this level of 21,800 for this big fair value gap that we see on the 4-hour, and just kind of, again, retracing the massive movement. So I do feel very comfortable in this type of scenario for the week overall. Again, just because I look at the market as like, what are the objectives, right? And for me, there's only two objectives ever. It's seeking liquidity and rebalancing price. Liquidity on the upside was already taken, price drops. Liquidity on the downside was now taken, now price should shoot up. So again, that's just a bias. On the intraday level, once we start actually looking at our strategies, Brent has his scanner, his indicators, his way of scalping during the bell, and I have my way that we play off the ranges, outside of typical market hours, playing off Asia, that's going to be very telling. So again, for me, I think we can come back up into these areas where we've had these big sell-offs, and we're not very far off from it. So if Sunday we kind of open back to the downside, consolidate during Asia, and then start showing signs of pushing back up, I would be comfortable buying back up. But, we just got to see. So that's kind of my 2 cents on NAS, and then we'll talk about some other markets. But yeah, that's all. That's for me on my side, bro.
Yes, sir. Telling you, NAS is just so good right now. It was so abundant and blessed us last week, and it's painting the exact same picture, which I'm super happy for. Last week, guys, we were here. Last Sunday, we were right here. And we said on the Sunday outlook, guys, hey, if it breaks, it needs to break around that 21, like 580-ish numbers, kind of somewhere around there, like really break through for it to keep on going up. If not, it's going to go down. And I said, once it breaks that 22, 120-ish, it'll go to 22, 100. If it breaks that, it'll go to 22, 050. If it breaks that, it'll go down to 22. And once it does that, it's gone. And it did just that. Finally, when it decided to break that 2200, that's when we had that huge landslide and it fully went into just sell mode completely. The bears just broke all the way through, loved it, break a structure multiple times, forming the low lows. Everything was just perfect, coming from like what Rich said. You just go back here. Just when in doubt, zoom out. That's all you guys have to do, right? As I mentioned before, you guys want to know at what point you become independent traders, at what point you've made it in trading, when you think you see deja vu, when you said, bro, I swear I was here, I live this exact moment, I've seen this. No, guys, like deja vu does exist, but it's not deja vu. Like this is just the fact that the patterns repeat itself over and over again. Same thing with news. That's why I say don't go off the news, right? Don't go off the smoke. Just an excuse. Go off the candles. The candles don't lie. That's the biggest thing, right? So I had targeted again our bear week for 2,800. Went down to 2,800, hit it beautifully, and then it started bouncing off here. So now to Rich's point, like you mentioned, yes, I do like it as well for us to hopefully come back into that 21,300 area. That would be great. And even if it continues to break it, perfect, because we have so much room for this to come all the way back up to our bull week target that we've had for so many weeks. It was 22,200, and it could go right back into the area and decide if it's going to do what it was had a possibility to do last week, which was break that 22,200 to continue rising. Ultimately, I think that we could get to this 22, 300-ish area to come back for this. Only if we break this 2,100 to 21,100, really kind of break that point. It needs to come and break this right here, this break of structure that we had, this movement when we dropped, go up, dropped, and then finally broke down. We need to now come up and off of this line right here, respect it, resist it, support it, and then go up to this point to keep on resetting. If that does not happen, if we go up here and this break of structure line where we have this movement right here, it does not break and it resists off of it, then it'll come down. And if we break again our 2,800, which has been super, 20,800, it's been super important, it will come down. So my next bear target that I'm looking for this week, which I'm going to go ahead and actually do this here. My next bear target for the week is 19. Let me double check just to make sure. 19,630. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. 19,630. That is my next bull target for the week. That's what I'm looking at. For my bear. My bear target for the week is that, let me change this right here. Copy. Do this here with you guys live. That is what I'm looking at as far as a bear target. And a bull target, I'm leaving it the same. I'm really leaving it at that 22,200 again. Because if it wants to go ahead, like I said, and break this 21,100, break through this 21,300, then it's at least coming back to this bull target one more time where all this situation happened. But if not, if we just get to this area and it keeps on breaking down, then we'll go here. And if not, we come all the way back down here. So if you guys could see all this mess of lines that I have right here, all of that are previous positions that I've placed, buys, sales, everything. And that's when we were busy. You can see that there's so many, like that's not just one line, guys. If I start like zooming it in, you will see that that is not just one line. Those are multiple lines that I have there. So there was a lot of motion here that we had. There was a lot of volatility, a lot of orders that are still trapped here that we need to get down to eventually. But just for this week, we have POW, we have NFP, we have like we have ADP, we have POW, we have unemployment, we have unemployment claims, unemployment rate. Like we have so much news happening to where we could easily come break another big chunk of pips down. So that's it for me again, guys. One more time, I'm looking for the bear week. Our bear week target is going to be 19,630. Our bull one 22,200, and it's all contingent really on breaking this 21. Like this 20, where it says 2136-ish, but I'm just gonna say 21,100 really to just break out of that. If it breaks out of that, then we'll go into the bull. If it comes back down and breaks underneath this like 2,400, then we'll be looking at that bear target. But that's it for me on NAS. Do you want me to touch gold really quick, bro? Might as well. So I'm already on it.
Yeah, that's cool, bro.
I don't have nothing much. I just do want to talk a little bit about this drop because I mentioned it in a live session. Obviously, we've been having this bull momentum for the longest on gold, which needs to drop. We had this big drop at this moment, which was Tuesday. So we started off the week as well, right? We start out the week and it just consolidates. Finally, we have that big break, change of character completely, pushes all the way down, breaks fully this complete zone. And this is kind of what, if you picture what I'm saying about NAS, right? About breaking and then dropping. So it's the same situation, kind of what happened here, right? But I'm looking for that to happen this week on NAS. Goes back up, breaks structure one more time, breaks it through, and we've been now in this channel. We've been now in this bull channel, in this bear channel completely. And it's a situation that I'm looking at very similar here. Very similar situation that we're looking at just like with NAS, right? So it's a situation of, is it going to continue to go up? Back where we had this break of structure, is it going to break through it, level off to come back to highs, to keep on getting to institutional numbers like 3,000? Or will it respect now this bear channel that we're forming in? And if you don't know about channels, you can watch my Understanding the Market, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But it will respect this channel and just keep on going down, which we have a ton of stuff to do at the 27,500, 2750 area, all the way down to the 2,500, 2,600. So there's a lot of room that we need to get at because we could just keep on zooming out for the hour, 4 hour, everything. Like we literally have to still eventually come back all the way down to 2,600. We have enough news, we have enough of everything going on right now for this to happen because of the tariff situation. It should be favorable for the US dollar. That'll help gold drop. We should have the situation with the crypto side of things. A lot of people are going to move into seeing that more powerful as well. So remove investments from gold, put it into crypto. So there's a lot of things that we could see, a lot of reasonings why gold should continue to drop. Let's see if that happens. If it does, I'm a happy man because I like to sell, as you guys know. So like I'll be sending a ton of trades this week on gold, which I haven't in a long time because I've been waiting for something like this. But if we get that break and it goes up, then I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not interested. That's really the only reason why I would be seeing right now gold important, because we finally broke off. Like this could actually truly mean not just a little retrace. This could actually mean a true change of character and just come down and take care of all these orders and everything we have. All these lines that you guys see here, it's part of my indicator. All of these either supply, demand, point of interest, point of control. Like it's just points of where the market eventually has to touch. And as you can see, there's a lot of them. So we have a lot of reasons why to go down for sure on gold. But that is it for me.
Cool. Yeah, honestly, for gold, I don't really have any thoughts, man. I think last week you guys can watch the replay. Obviously, I talked about um at least where price currently was, respecting like the 2890 area. I mentioned that we were inclining towards getting to that psychological number of 3000. But once we basically started breaking the highs of the previous week of 2940, 2950, we just saw the market unwilling to really drive more volume, shift structure, and just continue to end up closing the week super bearish. So I think like the way the market structure is painted right now, if you look at the daily and everything, I still think it may have some ways to go a little bit further to the downside. We had a weekly bullish, weekly bearish engulfing candle, but on the weekly there, we are technically tapping into that fair value gap. So I don't know, like I can't even tell you I'm really at all involved with gold. So it's just kind of like what we say every week is make sure you guys are tapped in with the people that are actually actively trading gold. Obviously Brent will send tap to trades and things of that nature from time to time. So just keep an eye with him. But I mean, market structure, I don't know. There's nothing really interesting for me to kind of go over right now for that. I think a hot topic right now that is worth talking about for sure is cryptos. So I'm going to share my screen here. And crypto wise, I've been talking about this move for a bit now. Let me turn this off. So if you guys recall, whether you're tapping into the Telegram channels, if you guys are tapping into these calls, really on the weekly time frame mainly, I let you guys know, at some point after all of this massive consolidation and failure to really close new all-time highs aggressively, that all of these weekly fair value gaps were going to be a very strong influence on the market for us to once we start breaking below 90, we were going to see an aggressive push into the 70s. Very well documented. You guys can go back and check that out. But like when it comes to fair value gaps in general, they're like the most assuring thing that I look at on a chart that really gives me an insight of where we're going to gravitate towards. It's just a matter of the timing, right? And I think that, a few times we saw price kind of like start looking like it might make its way, below 90, but we never really got any candle closures in and around that area until we got it on this day, which was Monday, the 24th of January. And then since then, we've just continued to see price move its way down. So again, like looking at all these fair value gaps now on the daily time frame, this is basically what we've tapped into here. And we're seeing a very swift push away. I know that we're getting a lot of fundamentals kicking in right now too about like Trump and the administration talking about XRP, Solana, and just kind of incorporating the cryptocurrencies more into like government programs. I know they're hosting their first summit. I think it's on the 4th or the 7th. I know it's like very soon. I'm pretty sure I read it's gonna be a crypto summit at the White House, something like that.
Yeah.
But in general, I think again, this 90 area is gonna be a key level at this point for us because again, we've seen the willingness for market participants to really kind of dictate the shift of where we're gonna go, right? So for me, I feel like 90 is that middle ground between all-time highs and getting back to this other key level of the lower 70s, right? Again, just looking at where participants have heavily interacted and made big decisions for Bitcoin, we've seen it at basically 70 to 72. I'd say 72 mainly. So, oh my goodness, freaking highlighter. Okay, so 72. 92, and obviously all-time high is like 110. So as of right now, momentum clearly is pushing bullish now after that rejection of the 70s. But again, it's going to be very important now what we decide to do in this general area, because if price starts to really respect that 90 price point, then we're in a good spot to really continue to push into all-time high territories again for Bitcoin. The minute that we start again rejecting back below, and we're gonna get some pushes back below, but we really need it to like test 90 and then continue to reject. That's gonna be a really clear sign for me to come into the 70s, and that's gonna be really interesting at that point. So this is like a bullish price action scenario that would need to happen for bearish pressure to kind of prevail here. So again, we're gonna get a pullback now regardless, because this pump that we just got over the last day or whatever, like the last couple hours, really, from 85 to where we're at right now, this move right here, it doesn't tell me much yet. I think if we continue to respect this area and continue higher, then that's going to be a very bullish scenario. But I really would not be surprised if we are going to dip back down into the 80s. And if that happens, we're either going to get a big push, close above here and continue, or we're going to kind of give a reaction, reject that 90 level, and then again come back down. So this area right now is going to be so crucial to know what's going to happen with Bitcoin over the next week or two, or whatever the case is, whether we're going to see all-time highs, or if this was really just kind of like news and I think this is a combination as of right now of the news of what's going on with crypto in the positive space of government inclusion in the United States. And also the fact that, look, man, when we hit 110, people are going to be so much more willing to buy in the 70s very aggressively, because now the mold has been shattered of like what's a high price point. If you told somebody a year ago to buy Bitcoin at 70 something, they'd call you like an idiot for buying so high. And now 70 is like not the middle ground, but it's not like a really high price compared to where it's been, right? So I think that was the willingness to really, for people to jump in on this dip right here. This is buying the dip with the news kicking in right now. So again, pay attention to 90, 92, because if we continue to reject 90, we're going to see the 70s again. And from there, it's going to be really interesting if that's the bounce point, or if that's kind of like the catalyst to start taking us to grab all this liquidity below 50. I really do think Bitcoin will go below 50 if you just look at traditionally the type of retracements that we get in the crypto space. From 110 to 50 is really not that crazy when you've seen it go from 70 to 15. If you look at the retracement percentages, 110 to 50 would be like a little bit more than 50% retracement, which is not unheard of. So we're in a very crucial part. Personally, like, for me, I think that's just a really big thing to pay attention to for the altcoins, which I'm going to let Brent talk about now too, because Brent has been talking about ADA and all these other projects like XLM, etc., that I just feel like if you're looking for money flip opportunities, the altcoins are going to be the way to go. If we start getting 70K Bitcoin, 50K Bitcoin, that's more of a way to store whatever type of wealth you have for yourself in something that has longevity, So it just really depends on what your goals are, guys, and like what like type of plans you have for the capital you're gonna build here. But remember, Bitcoin is gonna be the leader for all the altcoins, and what we do in this very specific area right now is gonna dictate the altcoin market by nature and create potentially some really big opportunities. Because I'll leave you with this, like for me, again, even though we're getting these massive pumps right now, I just very firmly am holding on to my bias of filling in all of this weekly fair value gap stuff that we see on XRP. So I'm very interested personally in getting in again. I already cashed out all my XRP positions a while ago, but I'm very willing to come back in at $1. I'm like, I don't want to say 100% because you're never 100%, but I'm so confident in getting back to $1 that it's just a matter of time for me. And that's where I'm willing to dish some money in there, because I do believe in XRP. I just needed to get into a reasonable place for me to get in again. And $1 has been the same spot for me. And naturally, I'll let Brent kind of talk about this. XLM and ADA have a very similar, because they work so hand in hand together, a very similar way that crypto behaves. and also opportunities to really get in on some crazy pullbacks for the long term. So that's it on the crypto side for me. I'll let Brent take it over here.
Yeah, bro, it's definitely a interesting time that we're living in on the crypto side of things. And the cool thing that we obviously have the knowledge. That's the most powerful thing. Even if you don't have the money at that specific time, it's the knowledge, which that actually has more power to it because you could do things with knowledge, right? Now, where we're at right now with crypto, it's really important to kind of understand the good and the bad, the ugly side of things, right? So with what Rich just mentioned, we had this huge pump up today, right? Ton of cryptos went up. That's awesome. Now, my reason to why it went up is because Trump revealed, he announced, right, that he plans to create. Guys, you need to read the news like completely. Don't get emotional. Like I've always said, the crypto boys are the most emotional ones. They don't read the whole entire thing. The crypto fans, there's a fandom situation when it comes to crypto to where it's like, Trump said XR, buy XRP. I'm like, bro, let him finish the sentence. He hasn't even said P yet, and you're already buying, right? So literally, he said that he plans on opening a crypto reserve. This is great news. We've had countries, we've seen what El Salvador has done with that, right? With BTC and the crypto reserve, like flip the country completely over. Amazing, right? And the corruption, let alone, right? But with that said, right now it's interesting because in my opinion, that news made a big pump on the retail side. So we saw the amount of volume push up, which we haven't seen. Like typically we've seen like if you've been in crypto now for the last 3, 4 years, when you see pumps like these, it's like what just happened? And then 3 days later you find about whatever news. That means the whales already knew what was happening. They shifted their monies, and then we retail found out. Right now, this was just simple news and hype that went out, which is great news, but I think it was more retail that moved the market right now. So I think it should continue to drop, and especially because we have the crypto summit, which again, you have to just kind of think about it, right? You guys know I love my conspiracy theories. How is it that you're gonna have a crypto summit in the White House with a week's notice? Come on now. Like, come on now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it seems like it's way too fast. It seems like maybe there was already some motion to it. Like, you would think the White House's security and all that stuff to be able to just out of nowhere say, hey, let's run a summit. So a little bit weird, right? But with that, I think we're going to see some news that's going to be really good. And for the reason that it's in the White House, and you can see data, like, so for example, like I like finding news here, like I said, on Seeking Alpha. That's why I'm sharing the screen here. Seeking Alpha, like we can see here, right? Who's going? It's going to be chaired by White House AI crypto czar David Sachs and run by Bo Hines, Executive Director of President's Work Group and Assets. So to me, this means we should probably going to hear more about what crypto will do for the US as a country, as a government, right? Which is great for coins that I've been pushing for the longest, and I would not pushing the coins, but I've been pushing to you guys the importance of find the utility of the coin. XRP, XLM, ADA, that's why we see these coins pump up because they have utility, which the government could actually utilize through banking, right? So we know with XRP could be a huge pump when it goes into the banking side. It already has patents. We don't know what it's for, but there's patents already with Bank of America. JP Morgan's already been speaking as well with XLM. ADA, Chainlink, like all these utility ones. So I think we're going to see some great news. But I would expect because it's a summit, because it's going to be in the White House, because it's going to be ran by White House like executives and things of that nature, we should be hearing very political side of crypto, which we haven't seen before. So I can't really say right now, like, oh, it's gonna be amazing. Like, get ready on I think it's Friday the 7th, right? Get ready to buy. It's gonna go. I'm like, we don't know because typically when we've seen big pumps and stuff like that, it's been more of situations of, hey, this crypto's gonna be the actual crypto owner says, hey guys, like I'm the CEO of this coin, and I think this is gonna happen. I'm doing this with this other company, and we see the boost. Right now, you're not gonna see the owner CEOs of ADA, XRP, others speak. It's going to be the White House. It's going to be the U.S. government speaking on it. So we're going to see what they actually want to do with it, what utility want to do with it. So it's going to be a really an interesting, important part to see what crypto does. I am super excited, obviously, because we've been following XLM now for the longest. This big pump, I'm not worried about it because it didn't break the areas that I did not want it to break. Like I don't want it to go above 40 cents, right? If it goes above 40 cents, then I need to delete everything I have, rechart one more time and kind of see where that point of entry is. And hopefully it wasn't 25 cents. As you know, I've been waiting from 18 to 20 cents to come in. We got super close. Like I was waiting. I had my finger on the trigger, guys. I was waiting. It's like as soon as I see that 20 cents, I am in. I'm going in. I'm buying, running that all the way to $4, but it went to 25. Thankfully, I'm still in. I think we should, like I said, we should see a respect here in the zone, consolidate a little bit, and just continue going down. Get to our area, then go ahead and buy between here and Friday. Because with Friday, yes, there will be a lot of, like we see right now, a lot of retail emotional traders to where if Trump or if one of the executives say, hey, you know what? We're looking to do XYZ with crypto and we're going to lean heavily on. And if they say XLM, ADA, XRP, that'll make sure that everything shoots out on the retail side of things as well. But we won't see until maybe 60, 90 days later the actual strength and movement of that coin, right? At least that's just me, not a financial advisor, not even a crypto educator. This is just experience of what I've seen following these cryptos for the longest. ADA, if you're still in it, we're cruising. This big pump brought us all the way back over $1 again. As you know, in September, we bought it there at 20 something cents. We doubled it, got our money out, let it go to $1, got another third out of it, and we let one third of it just ride. So all we have right now is pure profits still riding there. I would be happy to see our entry be touched one more time when XLN comes down. ADA will come down again around that 25 cents mark, 20 cents mark. We'll be able to get in there as well. Beautiful. XLM, I mean, Link, I was getting excited because I kept on going down. As you guys know, Link is just a hard one for me because I wanted to see at least come down to $6. I know it's a lot to ask for, just for the fact that when I was buying Link a long time ago, it was at $1, $2, $3. So it's really rough to see where it's at now, but it's just that psychological hump you need to go over to say, hey, you know what? It's not coming back to 3. That time is gone. But guess what? It maybe comes down to 7 and then goes up to 50, 60, 70, or breaks that $100, which it was going to at one point, right? So that's it for me on the crypto side. I said just don't be a retail trader, guys. Like, don't fall in love with a trade. Don't fall in love with a coin. I know it's really hard because we buy a coin and we want it to go to the moon and all this other stuff. Like, put it to you this way, I highly doubt a multimillionaire, right? Crypto guru, the owners of whatever crypto, I could bet money right now, like the actual CEOs of like these cryptos, they're not saying to the moon. Like, so let's not say to the moon, like they're actually sitting down looking at the charts, like analyzing it, trying to make sure that the right thing gets done with these cryptos, and we need to look at it the same way and just get that support and let's just cross fingers and hope it goes up. And that's it. In the meantime, we make sure that we are diversifying in the markets, right? We have the stock side of things, we have the forex side of things, we have the future side of things, we have self-funded, we have prop firms. Like there's so much still that we're making sure we're moving day to day. Like Rich and I showed in the trading plan that we created. It's that cycle, right? You get in, you trade, you get your prop firm, you pass your prop firm, you get that money, you get self-funded, you start dipping into cryptos, and then you just keep that circle revolving, right, to get to that point. So we're now in a couple months from now, we're like, hey, cool. We came in here, we got some profits. Now where do we go ahead and dump on them for sure? But that's what be on the crypto. We'll just keep an eye on the chats, guys. Like Rich and I, I'm sure we'll be dropping some stuff on the chats, even though we're not crypto educators, but because we're living in an exciting time and we're both following these specific coins closely, like Rich is following XRP, I'm following XLM, you'll see some news from us being dropped on our Instagrams and whatnot, or YouTube. So just make sure you're following us to stay in tune.
Yeah, sounds about right, man. Sounds about right. Well, guys, that's pretty much as far as like the market analysis portion of what me and Brent wanted to cover for today. Obviously, for those of you who are on here that are a part of the private mentorship program with AkashX, you guys know to make sure to tap into our live sessions. My Spanish, so I started doing Spanish sessions Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern, which is tomorrow, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays at 10 a.m. Eastern for English. Brent, what's your schedule again, bro?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. I will not be live Wednesday. I'll make that up Friday, so just keep an eye on the chats. And then tomorrow, Mindset Monday will not be at 2. I actually have an important session I'm doing for some creative stuff, some content. Can't share with you guys, but you will see it. So I got some stuff
Ooh.
at that time. So I will be most likely, no, I will, you know, no, screw most likely. I got to do it. I will be doing Mindset Monday on YouTube. It'll just be at night. So most likely it'll be later, like 8 o'clock or something like that. So just keep an eye on the chats, whatever. Make sure you just subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the subscribe notification so you get that notification. Because later I'm gonna go record, do what I gotta do, come back, try to settle in, and then be like, okay, cool, let's do this. So I'll try to do it before 8, but it'll be recorded for those that are on the London side, UK side. You'll be able to watch the recording when you wake up the next day. So don't worry about it. But definitely you want to check it in.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, make sure you guys, are keeping up with Brent's announcements as his schedule is a little bit full and just moving parts. Aside from that, for all of those who are maybe not a part of the private mentorship program yet, just keep in mind that with a brand new month, we actually have a brand new promo going on right now, which is the March Madness promo. So typically it's like about $180 for people to get started with a Akashex. For today only, it'll be 150. It jumps up to 180 starting tomorrow. So whether you found out about Akashics because of Brent, myself, maybe somebody who invited you on this free call, make sure you get in contact with whoever shared the platform with you and lock in so you can save yourself the $30. And also, start taking advantage of the March Madness promo. Not gonna get in depth with it here. Obviously we've had plenty of calls just kind of going over the details. It's kind of posted everywhere if you guys are in Akashics already. But for those who may not even know what we're talking about or thinking about joining Akashics and want to take advantage of the promo, essentially, we're incentivizing people to really start exploding the platform as far as referrals and building your online business, right? So leveraging people like myself, Brent, which we are just two of the 15 plus educators on staff that cover Forex, cryptos, indices, everything. You guys have a massive opportunity to help other people get introduced into the skill set, start taking advantage of all these financial markets while the whole rest of the world basically watches money being printed and they can't grab none of it. We're able to help you guys take advantage of the situation. And with the March Madness promo, you guys are going to see the ability to earn a lot of income as far as bonuses, free funded challenge accounts. I mean, there's so many incentives going on. It's so much for me to cover here. But make sure you get in contact with, again, whoever's your sponsor, whoever you're working with in the private mentorship with Akashex, to make sure that you guys not only are just taking the trades that we're taking and learning with us, but actually becoming a part of the movement, right? Because the whole point of us going on YouTube Live, it's not just to give you guys the market analysis, but it's to show you a little bit of a glimpse of what we do every single day in Akashex, why it's so worth for people to become a part of it, but not stopping there, actually taking ownership of the brand, right? Me and Brent are not Akashex. We are a part of Akashex. Akashex is so much bigger than just us two. And I would argue Akashex really is the field, right? Each and every single one of y'all who are coming up in the trading industry, who are coming up in entrepreneurship that want to make a name for yourself, this is absolutely the time. I'm telling you, the first quarter of the year, when everybody gets past tax season, they get their refunds, people are really trying to make the most out of a year. This is when people are ready to get involved in business. This is when people are ready to make changes. This is when people start getting money to start actually making moves. So make sure that's you and make sure that you get in contact with every single person you can possibly imagine, because the next success story that's going to get that 5-figure TradeX payout, that next person that's going to get that 5-10x flip on a crypto, that next person that's just going to absolutely shift their future is going to come in most likely now during this March Madness promo. So if that doesn't get you excited, y'all need to wake up. It is time to absolutely lock in. I know Brent has been locked in since day one that we've been here in Akashics. You guys have seen his evolution as far as being an educator, a trader, content creator, etc. And it's just a matter of knowing what we got and doing something with it. And that's all you guys got to focus on. So I'll let Brent, bro, if you got any final words for us before we go ahead and wrap it up here and call it a call.
Let it call, bro. No, that's the biggest thing. Just make that decision and commit. You've said it best, like, right? That's just the biggest thing. Commit. Literally lock in, commit. Like that's it. I've been saying it a lot in the chats lately, and it is what it is. You have to grab the mirror and look in your face, right? Don't complain for the results you have for the work that you don't put in. So don't complain that March wasn't a madness for you and March wasn't it when you didn't put in the work, right? You need to put in the work. Us, like educators like Rich and myself, we do 99% of the work. You just do 1%, but that 1% is so powerful that it can mean nothing to 99 that we do, right? So make sure you commit to what you got to do. Tap in and make sure you have the notifications on for the YouTube channels, have the notifications on for the stories and the Instagrams and everything for Rich and myself. So you make sure up to date with everything that we do. And as always, it's not about getting to the top, but it's about how many people you could bring with. So catch you guys at the top. See you next week. See you tomorrow on the Mindset Call. Peace.
Let's get it, y'all. Make sure you sub to the channel. Sub to Brent Badal. We got to push him to 1,000 subs. I know he's closing in on it, so
Yes,
let's wrap
sir.
it up. All
Yeah.
right, guys.